Greetings everyone, welcome to ChessAdvancedd. This game was played in Clutch Champions. With the black pieces here we have Fabiano Caruana, world number 3, and with the white pieces we have Magnus Carlsen, 5 times world champion, world number 1, and also at the same time now the first game was actually won by Fabi, and I've never seen Fabi play this spectacularly aside from the 2014 Singfield Cup. He is playing on a different level, and this time it's a Fabi that's really angry because yesterday did not go as well. He got only 1.5 points, and now he's crushing Magnus after he crushed Hikaru, and now this is going to be an epic round. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Let's see what beast Fabiano Caruana and what angry Fabiano Caruana can do to Magnus Carlsen. Here in this position, d4 was played by Magnus, and an immediate d5 by Fabi, knight to f3, and just knight to f6, and an immediate c4. We have d captures, queen to a4 check, that's how you win the pawn back, and here knight bd7, and just knight to c3, developing first before actually taking it. a6 now, b5 is a threat, so you have to take the pawn back right now, otherwise it's not going to happen. But here just bishop to f4, now e6, not even going for b5 in this position, and here in this position e4, and now b5, and we have knight captures on b5, sacrificing it. But in this position Fabi goes for the rook sacrifice. He goes for a captures on b5, sacrificing an entire rook and saying, well, you want to capture it, let's go for this line. Here queen caps on 8 and bishop to b4 check. And this position, yes, it has occurred many times actually, and there was this one game where actually in this position bishop back was played, and bishop to d2. If you try to go for the knight to b6 comes, and after this queen to c6. Now because the queen was under attack, you have to move it. Bishop to d7, attacking the queen once again, and after queen to b7 now you play this bishop captures, and after knight captures you simply castle. You keep your castling options open, and somewhere along the line you are going to castle. But after bishop to b4 check, here in this position king to e2 was played, and with this king to e2, the thing is that it's not a good move. It's a new move in the position, but it's not a good move in the position. And the thing is that in this position here e5, just opening up the center, and now just comes d captures, knight captures, and here just going for rook to d1, attacking the queen. We have knight to d3 now, and that knight is a beautiful piece staying on d3, just capturing all the squares, every single thing that's required. Also attacking this piece, you have to be a lot careful. And somewhere along the line, the problem with this position is you can see that there is some tension between the queens, and I have a light squared bishop, so if this knight ever moves, I'll be able to give a discovery, and that will simply allow me to pick up the queen. And that's the problem. That's why you're not supposed to play king to e2, and that's why blocking was the only option. But in this position, I mean, Magnus did really miss it, and hey, queen to c6 check was played, but now just comes bishop to d7, queen caps on c7, and here just queen to a8, not trading queens but actually eyeing this. And if you're able to get that, and I mean, your position would be completely winning. And you're targeting a lot of these things, you're targeting this as well, so it's a very difficult position to have. And there's only one move, and I'm sure you can all see it: queen to b8 check, forcing the trade of queens. But in this position, just king to e7, not trading and saying, you want to trade, you trade on my terms. Queen captures on 8 was paid, and this knight caps on f4 first with a check. You have to go up the board because you want to capture it on the next piece, and here rook caps on 8, king captures on f4. Everything is nice here, but the thing is that your king is on f4, and that's going to be a problem. Here rook captures on a2 was played, just grabbing another pawn. If you're able to grab this, then this becomes a pass pawn. It's going to be very difficult to try and stop those pass pawns because they're just 3 squares away from queening. And here the move that you want to play is maybe b3. And yes, I did tell you, I mean, that was just 3 squares away, and I'm just sacrificing a pawn. But sometimes, I mean, this is how chess works. It's incredible, but it's also annoying. Here g5 check, and now the thing is that you cannot capture this even with the knight, because somewhere along the line this check is going to come in, and yeah, you're going to have to sack the sack the piece. And here knight caps on g5 to try to go for, then comes h6, pushing the knight back, and after rook captures on d7, first sacrificing the exchange. Only way to survive this is this. And after knight captures, you play knight to f3, c caps on b3, and bishop caps on b5. Maybe, just a maybe, that you'll be able to survive in this, but it's long shot. But what happened in the game will tell you that maybe this was the best option. Here after rook caps on a2, just rook to b1 was played, saving the pawn, but now comes g5 check. And if you capture with the knight, this is coming next. It's just not the position you want to have. So here king captures on g5. Now your king is on g5, and you know what's going to happen next. Here just knight captures on e4 was played. That comes with a check. King to f4 now, attacking it, and here knight captures on f2. Now your rook is under attack. What do you do in this position? Just rook to g1. You have to move it. Bishop to d6 check. King moves further to g5, knight to e4 check. And now the thing is that with all these checks and the king being on f4 and g5, Magnus was really annoyed, and anyone would be. It's no surprise when your king is in the middle of the board and when you have to suffer in a position like this. Obviously you're going to be pissed off. But here just king to h4, and now comes even bishop to c5, attacking the rook once again. King rook to h1. You have no other choice than to agree with this, but with this rook to h1, it's actually a mate in 4. And I'm going to ask you to pause the video. Take a good look at this position. You're gonna love it if you're able to find the move yourself, because that move is just so beautiful, and it's just absolutely an amazing thing to be able to mate Magnus Carlsen like this. So Fabi had the chance, but he didn't have the time, unfortunately. But you have, so have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find the move. The move is just the move with the rook back here. The move is rook to a6. Get the rook here. And now whatever you do in this position, knight is covering this, bishop is covering this, you don't even have an escape square somewhere along the line. You have nothing here. So you're just getting mated. And if you go for this king to h5 in this position to not allow this to happen, then just comes bishop to e3. And now I'm forcing it to happen. What are you going to do about it? Hey, just knight to g5. But now just comes this bishop captures on g5. And after g3 in this position, because you still cannot capture it, here just rook to h6 check and checkmate. And yeah, that would have occurred. I mean, if Fabi was able to find this, the game would have ended a lot sooner, and we would have gotten this masterpiece of a game where Fabi beats Magnus in 28 moves. And this was a possibility, but after rook to h1 check, hey, bishop to f5 was played. And Fabi missed this. Here just going for g4 now, and Magnus finds the move where he can survive. Well, survive is a long shot, but just maybe suffer for a few more moves. Hey, bishop to e6, bishop to h3, but now just comes b4, pushing the pawns towards that side, and rook h to f1, and hey, just b3 even. And now just comes g5, but hey, just bishop to f2 check. And now are you going to sacrifice the exchange? Because if not, you don't seem to have that many squares. Or are you going to set up camp on that h5 square? It's just looking very, very nasty. And in this position, Magnus decided, well, let's just go for the exchange. Rook captures, knight captures, and hey, bishop to f1 was played. Now you are targeting this, but well, it's just not the way to be able to survive this. You have to understand your rook is pinned, trying to just save a pawn in this position somewhere along the line. That is going to be an option as well. It's just very painful. Here king to d6 was played by Fabi, getting the king into the game. It's an endgame after all. King to g3, knight to e4 check, and now just king to f4, knight to c5, and hey, king to e3 was played. But you could have also gone for a draw in this position. Yes, there was a draw in this position. No position is completely hopeless unless it's like you've just really messed up. But still, even then you can find resources where you can trick your opponent psychologically. Always remember that you always have a chance. Always have a chance to be able to win the game, or to be able to at least draw the game. You just need to be resourceful, and that's what Magnus Carlsen is. He is a very resourceful person and a very calm person to be able to know that he could have resources even in worse position. That's why he's the world champion, not currently but former. But here in this position, knight to d4, if he had found, then he would have some chances to be able to actually maybe hope for a drop, because after king to e7 you play h4, and after c3 now you play b captures, rook to h2. In this position you're trying to go after these other pawns, and here after king to g3 just rook to d2. And now after king to f4, it's just not that clear to be able to how you're going to win this. And that's the thing, you have created some sort of a blockade which you never had in this entire game, and maybe you would be able to actually hold this position to a draw. But here after knight to c5, king to e3 was played, and knight to a4 now, and now just comes knight to d2, knight captures on b2, finally grabbing that last pawn as well. And now it's going to be painful. Here just king to d4 was played, trying to capture this pawn, but now in this position, hey, king to e7. Oh, by the way, king to e7 was the only winning move in this position. And well, he found it, h4, and now just comes f6. And only winning move might be a long shot, but you have to understand that it was the only best move in this position. Let's just say that. Knight to e4, and here comes f caps on g5, h captures, bishop to f5. Now just comes this rook to e1. We have bishop captures on e4. You could have also gone for this very nice line with king to f8, just moving the king out of the rook's sight. And here after knight to f6 you play knight to d3, rook to e8 check, and after king to f7 you can see that there are some chances of you getting mated here, so you have to be careful. Rook to b8, and now after rook to f2 you play king caps on c4, just grabbing one of the pass pawns at least. And here after knight to c1 now you play this knight caps on h7, grabbing one more pawn, but still it's very much hopeless because bishop captures and you don't have anything. Somewhere along the line that's going to be pushed as well. Your bishop can only do so much, and it's about to get captured as well, so you don't have that much. But maybe it was a better way to go, because here after rook to e1, bishop caps on e4 was played, and now just comes to rook caps on e4 with the check, king to f7 and king to c3, and now just comes this knight to d1 check, king to b4, rook to c2 in this position, and here rook to e1 was played, attacking the knight, but now just comes knight to b2. And by the way, all of these moves that Fabi played, I mean, they are under a lot of time pressure. I mean, they have like 5 seconds on the clock, so don't mind them. Hey, just bishop to s3 was played, and after this knight to d3 check, in this position, Magnus Carlsen, 5-time world champion, resigned the game because it is hopeless, and Fabi beat Magnus Carlsen 2-0, and that's a spectacular result. It's been a while Magnus has been obliterated like that, and the only person that I can think of doing that is definitely the 2014 Fabiano Caruana, who defeated every single top player in 2014 in the Singfield Cup 7-0. That guy was an absolute beast, and this is how Fabiano Caruana, when he gets pissed, that's how he plays. So kudos to Fabi on having a spectacular day too, and I'm going to be showing a few more games, maybe of him and maybe of Gukesh. We'll just see some of these games. These games were really nice, and I'll be coming with them shortly. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be coming back with some of these amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.